Howdy and welcome to the Confidence Through Health podcast. I'm Jerry Snyder. As an elite level athlete, owner of All In Health and Wellness, and author of the book Confidence Through Health, my goal is to help you achieve your goals and dreams using health as the conduit to get there. So I want to take a second to thank our sponsor for this episode, American Sports and Fitness Association. They are the place to go for your personal trainer and fitness certifications. They have a wide range of certifications, everything from personal trainer to golf fitness instructor to water aerobics to nutrition and sports nutrition. If you've been thinking about going into sports and fitness instructor arena, I highly suggest you check out the American Sports and Fitness Association. There's a link on my website, confidencethroughhealth.com. Go there to look at other episodes of the website, but also check out their information. It'll link to their website, and you can check out more information about how to get certified as a sports and fitness instructor. Howdy, and welcome back to the Confidence Through Health podcast. This is episode 125. And what I want to talk to you today about is your mitochondria. So your mitochondria are in your cell. They are what most people know from biology class in, sixth grade or eighth grade or whenever you took it and learned that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, right? I think everybody remembers that. But what happens when you don't take care of your mitochondria? You have mitochondria dysfunction. And what happens is, from an analogy standpoint, how many of you, probably all of you, if you're listening to this, if you're able to watch this, you are likely someone who has experienced being in a traffic jam, right? Somebody I know was in a traffic jam yesterday or 2 days ago. They were posting it on social media about sitting on a highway for 6 hours. I remember a story my grandfather told me that he lived in Kingsville. His best friend lived in Kingsville, Texas. And I grew up in Baton Rouge. They would come to visit us. It just so happened his best friend's kids and his grandkids lived in Baton Rouge as well. And there was a time where they passed each other on a highway because the way my grandfather was coming to see us, so he was heading east on I-10 over the Chaffalaya Bridge, and traffic was moving fine. And traffic on the other side of the bridge was completely shut down. If you've ever been on that bridge, you understand that if there's a wreck, at least at that time, this was back in the late 80s, if there's a wreck on that bridge, everything shuts down, done. It's like and he knew it was his buddy because he had his travel trailer. He recognized the travel trailer, recognized the truck. So he knew his buddy was sitting over there. He said he sat there for like 8 hours. So if you've ever had that experience, then you're going to understand the analogy of what happens to your mitochondria when they break down. Your car breaks down, or there's an accident on the highway and everybody has to stop, right? Everything comes to a stop until they clean it up. If it's your car, it breaks down, you got to move it off to the side of the road. Somebody helps you move it over. They call a wrecker to move it over, right? Like you get it out of the way of traffic, and then traffic can start to move again. So when your mitochondria break down, what happens is it doesn't just like dissolve into nothing. The cell, the wall of the mitochondria breaks, and then all those particles in there start floating around. They become free radical particles in your body, just like other things that are not good for you that you could, like toxins or whatever. And so you consume those toxins and they float around your body, right? Well, now you've got your own body floating around in your body because it broke down. And one of the things that goes after the mitochondria cell wall or your regular cell wall, but also specifically the mitochondria really do not like is processed vegetable oils. So things that are like cooked in grease, obviously just, nobody does this, but drinking vegetable oil, nobody does that. But things that are processed in vegetable oil typically the fried foods. And you'd be surprised some things that are processed foods that are not actually fried foods, but they have processed vegetable oil in them, canola oil in them. Those things, that oil is a product that gets into your system, and the mitochondrial wall does not like that, and it breaks it down. And so now your mitochondria particles are floating around in your body. And what happens is that they become disruptors to your synapses in your brain, your synapses in other part of your body, your nervous system. They disrupt because they're free particles. They're just floating around and they get in the way of things. And they disrupt your body's ability to function properly. Specifically, your brain's ability to function properly, because the highest concentration per cell of mitochondria are in your brain cells. Your muscles have a lot of high, they have a high concentration as well. Your bones, not so much. Think about where the function needs to happen. They're the powerhouse of the cell. There needs to be a lot of function. Your brain functions a lot, right? Your muscles function when you move and you move them. But if you just sit still, they're not functioning as much. Your brain's functioning. If you're awake, your brain's functioning. If you're asleep, your brain's functioning. Your brain is functioning all the time. And it has a high concentration of these mitochondria in it, in each cell. And if they're starting to break down in all these free radicals, well, the first place they're going to disrupt is where they break down at, right? If your car breaks down on I-10 in Houston, it's not going to disrupt traffic on I-35 in San Antonio, right? It's not going to happen. So if your mitochondria in your brain start breaking down and free radicals are going around in your brain, it's going to take it a while, if at all, for it to affect your lower leg, as far as that specific free radical getting to your lower leg. But what it can do is it can disrupt the synapses up here in your brain that are telling your leg to do something, that are telling your muscles in your leg to fire, to function. And so you don't function well. Now, I'm using an analogy to a muscle, a physical leg. Most people see it happen when they have brain fog, when they have issues after a fried food meal, which a lot of times happens when you go to a fast food restaurant at lunch at work. You got a short period of time, you go to a fast food restaurant, right? And you're like, oh, but I get the burger, or I get the salad, or yeah, but did you get the fries? Because guess what? Fries are fried. And they're not fried in good stuff. They're fried in oil that disrupts it. So what can you do besides just not eating fried food, which is great and helpful? But like I said, a lot of processed foods, there's a lot of foods that those oils are hidden in. And so it's really difficult to avoid it completely. But what you can do, the other side of it is, okay, well, if we know that those are attacking the mitochondria, can we make the mitochondria stronger, right? If one country's in a war with another country, you have two options. You can come up with a better tactic to attack, or you can come up with a better tactic to defend, right? If you're in a sports game, one team versus another team, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, whatever, you can have a good defense, you can have a good offense. Most people say a good defense wins championships, right? So if a good defense wins championships, let's defend the mitochondria as best we can, so that when we get exposed to something that's going to potentially hurt the mitochondria, it has less chance of being able to do that. So what helps build those walls? There's an enzyme called CoQ10. CO, capital Q, the number 10. And what it does specifically is it's going to be labeled as, this is going to help your heart. This is something that's going to help your heart get stronger. Okay, it does. But your heart also has a lot of mitochondria in it because your heart's always pumping. Just like your brain's always working, your heart's always pumping. And so those mitochondria have to work all the time. It's another place you don't want to have mitochondrial dysfunction. But it goes towards those cell walls of the mitochondria, and it helps fortify them, and it helps make them stronger. And so if you take CoQ10, you have a better chance of withstanding a battle from any kind of those fried foods or any kind of those greases that get into your system. So it's simple. It's one per day. It's actually not that expensive. So it's not that hard to do, to just add that into your routine. I do it in the morning. You can do it at night. It's not something that's going to keep you up. It's not something that's going to disrupt anything as far as like you're going to notice a negative aspect of taking it. What it will do is it's going to help you be more productive. It's going to help you get over those issues that maybe you're seeing that are coming from the fried foods, specifically with your brain in regards to brain fog. Now, the other thing you want to do is you want to take a supplement that's it's an EPA DHA. Most people will think of it as an omega-3. But those are the two items in the omega-3 that are actually helping it function best, the two acids in there, the two fatty acids in there that are helping it function the best for you. And what you want to do is take that as well as the CoQ10, because your brain is mostly made up of omega-3 fatty acids. And so as those things, as free radicals, like your parts of your mitochondria or grease or anything else you eat that's toxic and your body doesn't really like, but supposedly we think it tastes good, that as that stuff gets in there and is breaking things down and getting in the way of things happening properly, it's affecting your brain, right? So you want to make sure you're doing everything you can to help your brain function as best as it can. So those are the two supplements. I say supplements because one's an enzyme and one's a fatty acid. And you want to take those to help your brain function better and to be able to get over brain fog issues, to get over headache issues. I told somebody the other day, it's like, I can't even remember the last time I had a headache. It was at least 10 years ago. And they were like, "Are you kidding me?" And I said, "No, it's at least that long ago. It could be longer." Because I do the things to make sure that my brain has as much strength and defense as it can, because defense wins championships. So that means defense is going to help me get to where I need to be. So do I go on the offensive? Absolutely, I do. But a good defense is oftentimes better than a good offense. So you have to know how to protect yourself. So CoQ10 and with the omega-3, whether it's fish oil, flaxseed oil, there's different ways that you can get it. There's a different forms of it. If it's fish oil, make sure that it's wild caught. It's coming from wild caught fish. But the other piece of that is you can take it 2 times a day, 3 times a day, like however often you need to take it to where you can see the effect and the benefit of it. And then once you get to the point where you're seeing the effect and the benefit, you stabilize at that level. You can eventually come back down a little bit. I used to take 3 a day. Now I'm down to 1 a day because I've built up what I need to build up, and I don't need to take it that often because it's doing what it needs to do. And I'm preventing the other stuff that's coming in there that's going to be offensive to my brain. So, but then that also plays into the part of omega-3 ratios to omega-6 ratios, which I talk about in my book, Confidence Through Health. And omega-6 fats, by the way, are the greases that fried foods are cooked in. So you want to have more omega-3 than omega-6. And most Americans are reverse on that in a very bad way. You want to be more like 3-to-1 on omega-3 to omega-6. And most Americans are somewhere in the 10 to 15 to 1 omega-6 to omega-3. So we've completely flopped the ratio of what we need, which is why we see so many people with brain health issues and brain disorders coming up and things like that. And it's not because they can't control themselves or they can't help themselves, it's because we're not protecting the brain. We're not doing what we need to do to protect our brain, and therefore it's breaking down. And when it breaks down, we have issues. When your car breaks down, you have issues. You stop traffic, you have to go to the mechanic. You got issues with your pocketbook now. You got issues. You got people yelling at you because you're stopping traffic and they got to be somewhere. They're honking at you, like emotions go crazy, right? When your mitochondria break down, you got issues. So let's do everything we can to make sure that powerhouse of the cell that's driving our ability to accomplish things. Quite honestly, the mitochondria are driving our ability to accomplish things. Because if they're not producing energy, we're not accomplishing anything. Right? So they have to work properly and they have to work efficiently. So let's take care of them. So CoQ10 and omega-3s, let's take care of our brain, let's take care of our mitochondria, and let's function better, and let's do something that's going to boost this world into a positive direction.
Thanks for checking out the All in Health and Wellness Confidence Through Health podcast. Our goal is to use health as a conduit to help you reach your goals in life.
A little lighter than me. I'm about to black out. Her grip is getting tighter on me. I think I like it deep inside. I feel the fire in me. She like the milky, see me cream into the coffee to me. She got soul in her sway.